Wait. Before we get into this, welcome to the Black Lotus Podcast. I am your co-host, Mike Blue.
And your co-host, Josiah Jacobs.
And today we have not only a returning guest, but an essential sage. Understand me? This man has been around here since day one. Day one.
Since IG, man.
For real, since the IG lives. Understand me? And that was 3 years ago now, man. 3 years ago. It might just be to date too. Actually, I think it was December 12th, if I'm not mistaken.
Nah, y'all was recording in September, October.
Are you sure?
Yeah, bro. It was a little bit warmer outside.
Yeah.
Actually, you're right, because I remember you had that towel on the back of the door. I remember that. I don't know why I do, but I do. But I bring to you guys none other than the man himself, Myles Savage. How you doing, good brother?
Man, I'm doing well, bro.
You want to pull that mic in front of you?
Let's see. Y'all can hear me? Okay.
We're gonna pull that down just to play with the.
Got you.
Play with that. No, the one right before it. Yep.
There we go.
Yeah.
That should be solid, right?
Yeah, that's solid. All right, that's solid. How you doing today, good
Man,
brother?
I'm doing well. Just got back from Los Angeles. Just got out of the car on that 6-hour car ride. Man, I'm enjoying myself.
I gotta get some stretch out, you know what I'm saying? Man, so how was that though?
It was cool. I got my stepmom's side of the family. She lives down there, and
Word.
my family, we decided to do Christmas in Vegas this year. So all of the family, we met out there, and we had Christmas at a little hotel in Vegas, and we just hit the strip a couple of times, and then went over to Los Angeles to go visit some other family. And now we back home.
That's real,
Back on
man.
home soil.
Gotta get down to the town soil, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Obviously, as you guys can see, we are not in our usual setup. But this is our new usual setup.
There we go.
We are in the RPAL station, but this is brought to you by none other than the Black Lotus Podcast, and it is 100% independently owned. With that being said, this brother has been doing a lot of the work for the last, I say, about 2 years now. And I want to really acknowledge that, on the podcast right now, that I haven't, in a sense, stepped up to the plate. I had a lot of moving pieces in my life, a lot of trials and tribulations I have been going through for the last 24 months, I say. But that's no excuse as to the amount of work that I've put in. And as of the last 2 months, I really have been planning for this next, honestly, I called it an invasion. The Black Lotus is finna invade all airwaves. Everything. You know what I'm saying? Anywhere that you look, we're gonna be. You close your eyes, we gonna be there. Understand me?
Understand me.
We gonna see us in your dreams.
In your dreams, boy. Your thoughts, they're ours. That's real talk. But no, for real, I want to give the utmost thanks, first to the Most High for really pulling me out of a dark place. And secondly, to this brother right here for really holding it down for all the years that, or all the time I was gone. Working on my own individual projects that not necessarily came to fruition, but man, I can't thank him enough for real. Not only as my co-host, but as my brother. As my friend. As my best friend. I can't give enough thanks. But that being said, this next year, you will not be able to get me out your eyes. I will be in front of every screen that you see. Anything that you scroll on your timeline, you'll see my face. Because we're here and we're not going anywhere. We're staying consistent, and we are going to stay so humble, and we're going to stay on that same tip. We're going to have such self-esteem. We're going to have such high self-esteem that it's going to radiate in positive energy. Not as of cockiness, but out of just pure love for ourselves and pure love for our visions and the future that we want to invoke upon the world. And to that, brother, I really want to say thank you.
That's love, man. That's love.
But let's talk about.
Where did we leave off? Oh, my bad. Go crazy. Go crazy.
Let's talk about Temple, man. You know what I'm saying? I want to, because this is the first time I think we've actually sat down on the Black Lotus podcast and have had two contrasting educations. You know, because you have a PWI, you know, but it's not as if you're whitewashed at all. You know, because at the end of the day, from where I've met a lot of different whitewashed PWI students. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about white fraternity black brothers. It don't even.
No, that's different breed, man.
Different breed,
man.
Right? But
you not lying, man.
They really are.
For real though. But to say that, you know, to go to a PWI and still retain your black identity is something that is not championed enough.
Yeah.
And then on this side, you have a brother who went to HBCU, you know, graduated magna cum laude, and now is in a PWI pre-doctoral fellowship, you know, at Johns Hopkins. So now he's about to see the other side of the world, but he has gotten the other world. So I want to, in this episode that has been long awaited, honestly, we were supposed to record this. Honestly, wasn't we supposed to record this last year?
No, we were supposed to record it at least in during Thanksgiving, because we was planning something like that then. But
no, before that though, I owed you an episode from way back then.
Right,
Remember
at the beginning of the year.
We went to watch the football game.
Yeah, because I was. I was. Hey. He was. I was saying, bro, we could do this episode.
We could do this episode. Miles, I'm glad you said something, because I was like, bro, like,
we had to protect the Black Lotus.
We had to protect the brand.
It can't just be me saying something, bro. Like, it gotta be.
Oh my God!
I was saying something too, bro.
Nah, that was. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, I was off it, boy. I was off it, but hey, I was determined, bro, because like I was in denial. I'm telling you,
my man, good now. We good now.
It took a while, brother. It did. You know what I'm saying? It took a very long time, but I feel like you have to just do it on your own time and don't let anybody tell you, you know, what to do. You have to come to your own conclusions.
Real shit.
You can listen to other people, you know what I'm saying, as they tell you things, but don't let that be the thing that rules your decisions.
Absolutely.
Allow yourself to reign supreme in your own mind. That's real talk. But back to the matter at hand. I guess my first question to both brothers would be, what do you think is the most paramount attribute that you learned at your respective schools towards your blackness or your black identity?
I would say, like, for myself, like, just like the belief in self. That like going to Howard taught me, especially like the affirmation of black like intelligence and like consciousness. You know, like I hung out with some high school friends like yesterday, and like we was talking about like how at St. Mary's, I never felt like I was really pushed to be the scholar that I'm on the path to being now. I feel like at Howard, like whether it was even in the online classroom setting, and then obviously in person, like I was pushed like indirectly to like see myself as somebody who could, you know, like produce good scholarship and produce, you know, like knowledgeable insights to the world. And I always had that inclination just from when I was like a young child, you know, like in grade school I was always known as like the history guy and everything, the history buff, like I knew everything about that shit. But like, man, I think that
still to this day though, so he's a catalogist.
But like, I think that in high school, I just wasn't kind of like pushed down that path. I feel like sometimes I know it's for like a lot of the black students, like, you know, it's kind of just like go into your respective category, you know, like we're gonna get you into like a nice college, you know, like we don't want you to like aspire to be higher or anything, you know. Like I remember like they didn't let me into a AP course because,
you know, I remember that too, wasn't it? It was a history AP course too.
Yeah, it was AP US history.
That's so crazy. Like, think about that. As the man that this man is, just think about how much of a gatekeep that is.
And it's like, well, the big reason, you know, I wasn't able to go into the course because I got an A- and a B+ when one of the prerequisites was getting 2 A- in regular world history. But like, there were people who didn't get that same prerequisite and they were still let into the class, you know. And I feel like not just me, but with other black students, they were kind of like protecting us from ourselves, which is an ideology that I can understand. But I think that let's say if I had gone to like a black school, I feel like my teachers would have pushed me more and would have put the idea in my head that you can't do that. You just got to work a little harder instead of trying to protect the name of the school because I maybe wouldn't have did as well. And then coming to a school like Howard, I think that, you know, having black professors and, you know, like, especially having like black male professors, you know, who know everything about like black culture, like the black world, like, and just inspiring me, you know, like my advanced public speaking professor, Dr. Rich Wright, who I got on the podcast. Like,
hey, shout out to Dr. Wright.
Yeah, like he met Malcolm X. He went to Howard in the 1960s. He OG. He like 80, bro. And he
OG for real.
Yeah, he was just telling me like the first thing that he came into our class was telling us about like Malcolm X, and, you know, because he was saying he wanted us to get to know who he was before he wanted us to open up about ourselves. And like, I think that's just like a powerful just lesson of like black teaching, you know, like opening up so your class can open up to you, because, you know, our experience is different in this world compared to other races and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I think that and just that entire experience like just made me realize that I used to tell some of my professors all the time, like, you guys are so inspiring to me, because there are times when I don't know if I can go into these next level graduate school spaces, especially. I used to feel like that a lot more in the past, but asking them questions, being around them, telling me that I can't do it, that I can't go into that environment was just so like affirming. And then just even at a secondary level of like my friends, you know, just like meeting like a lot of black men who share like who have like similar just ambitious goals and just like perspectives. You know, I got friends who want to be that in like medicine, business. Me being on the graduate school route, like just doing all that stuff, but we're all in like law, and everybody's doing something different, but we have that same level of like ambitiousness. And I'm not saying you can't find that at like a PWI or something like that, but like I'll say that, like, you know, just being at Howard and being able to like talk to my friends about black things without having to worry about if everybody's gonna feel accepted, and just honestly having the ability to be like openly like pro-black at school is something that like that is really dope. And like I've not something that I feel like I can replicate in the same way at Johns Hopkins. You know, like it's like I'm not gonna say like I'm closeted in my beliefs, because I'm not closeted. Like if you ask me what I think about something, I'm gonna tell you what I think. But it's like it's not as like.
You can't be as open about it, you know.
Can't be open because like
and expressive.
Because not everybody like knows.
Yeah.
There's not really like a lot of black people.
Oh, so you're saying that the black intellectualism isn't on the same par, or it's not? Or I don't even say that. I would ask you if it's. Do you feel that the black information, or no? Do you feel like the history that is being taught and the curriculums that are being taught are they're not as oriented around truth?
No. I wouldn't say that at all. Like, I mean, Hopkins has one of the best history departments like in the country. Like it's definitely oriented around like truth.
Okay.
But it's just like it's the atmosphere of the school itself. Yeah. Like if that makes sense. Like
so the social environment.
Yeah, like
the climate is just not welcoming for blackness.
I wouldn't even say like not welcoming. It's just like not really there. You know, like there are some areas that you can go to, like, you know, like there's like Africana study and stuff like that, and they have like seminars and stuff like that where they talk about things that I'm really interested in and passionate about, but like at a base like student level, you know, there aren't like a lot of like black men like in like who are scholars, you know, like black men don't really go to college as much as like black women and stuff like that.
Man, you know? That so,
isn't it 73? No, 70%.
It's like I think it's like 64 or 36. Yeah,
but they outnumber us like 2 to 1. In most places.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not even 2 to 1. I think it's more to like.
But I can kind of speak to that in terms of the like.
Oh yeah, it is.
Like we go to like. Like I go to PWI. I'm at Temple University in Philadelphia. Like I think, yes sir, you. I think the best part about my experience, or at least kind of like the pro-black part about my experience, is that although I'm not at a HBCU, and considering that I came from California in the Bay Area, I went to a majority black city.
Yeah,
like, the population in Philly is like between 40 to 50+% black, like in terms of the entire population.
I had no idea it was that dense.
And don't even get me started on what North Philly looked like, because if you ain't Puerto Rican or black, you don't live in North Philly. And if,
like, I have a lot of my professors at Howard went to graduate school at Temple.
Exactly, because we started Afroecology.
Yeah,
we had the first Afroecology program in the country.
Go into that. What is Afroecology?
Look, my father, he told me to take an Afroecology class. I wasn't able to fit it into my schedule, but I did make friends with everybody in the Afroecology department. So, to my knowledge, Afroecology is just the study of kind of a Afrocentric historical point of view.
Wow.
So, like instead of like when we look at our textbooks in like elementary school and high school, like the best way I think about it is like we started with Europe.
Yes.
Now we start with Africa and work outwards that way.
That's deep.
Or think about everything from like the black perspective or the minority perspective.
Yeah.
But
that's dope.
Like going back to Joey's point, we like people at my school, we made it an event, and multiple people at my school made it an event to get down to Howard to go to their homecoming. Man. So kind of like talking about that experience of like you go to a PWI and you can't really be, I don't want to say comfortable being black.
You say expressive. I think
not even necessarily expressive. Because
what do you mean?
What I mean though is like to be able to freely have certain types of conversations. Yeah. Like granted, like prejudice exists everywhere. For sure. But like if you want to be like, that's gonna sound like so jacked up, but it's like you can't make like white people jokes the same way. Like that's the best way I could describe it. It's like you like the common joke like, oh, white people don't season their chicken type stuff, or like. Yeah. But I say that as kind of like a microcosm of what the fuller experience is like. It's like you can kind of like speak to your experience more in comparison to other cultures, and not really necessarily feel like you have to like quiet yourself down or have to worry about making other people feel uncomfortable. Yeah. But kind of going back to your point earlier about like kind of like what my experience has been like as a black student, or in terms of kind of like a
what do you feel is one thing, or not even one, what do you feel like is like the most important things that you've acquired a part of your identity, as in terms of your blackness?
I say kind of like of course we get like the stereotypical like deficit story, like, oh, like, you know, no dad, whoop-de-woo, like, you know, like welfare, EBT family. But like, I think what I've learned, because I've had one black professor at my school.
Really?
And he's not even in my department, but he's like my absolute best friend. Like, that's my temple dad is what I call him.
Yeah.
He's in the accounting department. And he's like an advisor to an organization that I'm a part of.
Okay.
One, like, blackness doesn't have to be a deficit story, for one. And two, like, being black can be an advantage if you choose to look at it that way. Like, I think that I've partly been able to, like, I hate to say it, like, this is just kind of like the climate that we've grown up in, like, in a post-George Floyd era, but, like, I've been able to differentiate myself, like, from my white counterparts by having a different story, or being able to, like, play, like, on my diversity. Like, to, like, either, to, like, go into these other places that are going to be majority white, like,
you bring a different perspective.
Yeah, I bring a different perspective. Like, I'm an asset to you. Like, you need me.
Yes.
Like, and I feel like I've kind of like downloaded that mindset of like I am needed. I am needed not only just for my blackness, but for my perspective, for the attachment to my culture that I can also bring as well.
Yes.
But I mean, you know, that can come with its own complexes. Like, oh, like, is this place only hiring you because you're black, or oh, like, you're just a diversity hire, something like that. But I think one, like, I've learned that, like, one, like, you know, we don't need to necessarily have a deficit story to be able to excel in certain places, and two, like blackness comes in so many different forms. Like, we don't, like, we're. Like, I feel like if we...
Albino to midnight.
Yeah, literally. So, like, but I feel like we do ourselves, like, for, I guess, like, the more, like, dare I say, like, people who, like, didn't really, like, grow up in, like, the stereotypical black household, like, for, like, the more polished type, like, you... What am I trying to say? You are just as black, if not as black, as everybody else. Like, not because you, like, you know, you get certain cultural cues or stuff like that, but like the diaspora that makes us comes in every single form, from the corporate CEO like Robert Smith to Chief Keef, and everything in between. So, like, don't be boxed in as to, like, you know, what blackness is supposed to look like.
I think that's an interesting point. What were you about to say?
I was about to say that, like, everything you said is something that, like, I truly loved about Howard. And I can go on a whole rant about this, but, like, the thing that I loved about Howard was, like, it exposes you, and I would say the HBCU environment in general, but Howard is a unique case because, like, it brings students from all over the country.
Yeah.
And all over the world, yeah. And, like, it exposes you to how many different types of blackness there are, you know, and it makes you appreciate it more. It makes you like, damn, like, we're really cool, you know, like we're actually, like, we're as diverse as any other ethnic group, you know. And I think a lot of black people who never experienced, like, an environment like that, and, you know, you're in a PWI, but like you said, you're still in Philadelphia, you know, like, you're still in like see that's hella black people, you know, like, and you probably see hella different types of black people within that environment. And it's like, I think that going to Howard, it showed you how many different types of blackness there are. But I think one of the coolest things about it kind of shows you how we're all connected in some way. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Like that shared experience.
Yeah, that shared experience, you know, like, it's profound, bruh. And I think that something that a lot of white people don't understand, even your most liberal white person, you know, it's like, and this is something that, like, when you look at, like, history with how, like, things have kind of, like, turned out in the black community, just like our current state, like, a lot of changes in, like, with, like, education, like Brown v. Board and stuff like that, like, they were made off of the faulty premise that, like, black people don't like being black.
Let me speak on that, bro.
And wait, hold on. And I was gonna say that, like, sometimes I think white people see all the things that we go through as being black in this country, especially after like the post George Floyd murder and stuff like that. Like, they equate blackness to being something that is negative, that we don't like being black, you know, like
we've been fighting that since the 60s.
Like we love being black. Like I wouldn't want to be anything else. You know what I mean?
Exactly, bro. I do not want to be. I don't want to be nothing else, bro.
Yeah, like I'm black and I'm proud. You feel me? But I think that something that like Howard kind of instilled in me is, you know, just being proud of that, you know, like showing that like you know, like a place where it's cool to be black and smart. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole environment is something that I think is just so cool and something that I was blessed to experience, you know. And I think that is something that I feel like everybody should experience in some way, even if it's not at an HBCU. You know, just being in the type of environment that has so much diversity. I think that's real diversity. You know, I don't think putting hella different races in one area is real diversity, because like it's not diversity if they're all not interacting with each other and looking at everybody's culture as equal.
I don't even think I would even take it a step further. I don't think it's diversity, because if you put a whole bunch of liberals with different races in the same room, how is that diversity in thought? You know,
that's what they're looking for. But I mean, like
that's what they call diversity, though.
Yeah,
you know, they call diversity just based off of the race or the gender, right? But it's not diversity based off of your thoughts. Like, I can be a black man and think completely different than you because I have a different educational field, right?
So, but this gonna be kind of like the rebuttal for them is like, like if that's the case, then okay, do you agree or disagree with affirmative action?
See, I actually disagree with affirmative action.
What about you, Joe?
I agree with it.
You agree with affirmative action?
I think it should be a thing.
The reason why I disagree is because I'm still working on this ideology, but I believe that it's interesting you brought this up. Brown versus Board of Education was the worst thing that could happen for black people.
Possibly. I mean, you know, there are arguments. Integration was probably the worst thing that ever happened to black people.
Well, it's not even that, because that was going to happen eventually, because the economy could not survive if black people were to be independent, right? So they would have to integrate us into it. But what I'm saying is our education, right? When you take black teachers away from black students and you replace them with white teachers, now you're learning how to be or how to fit the role of a white person, or to be subservient, right, to a white person. It's interesting that you said that they didn't put you in the the AP US history, because I'm guessing, I'm not saying anything against those white people, or I can't even say if they were white. Was your counselor white?
The people who made the decision were white. Even though my world history teacher, like Bert, like he vouched for me. He was like, yeah, Josiah needs to be in that class. Like, he's gifted in this.
And my thing is this, right? Back at that time, we read Black Rednecks and White Liberals. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Black Rednecks and White Liberals, right? We read that, and we read about a school by the name of Dunbar, right?
Yeah, Dunbar High.
Hey, what's interesting about Dunbar, and something that I really took from that parable.
It was like the black. It was a black high school that like scored higher than.
Yep, in DC.
Than like every other white school.
I think that's what happened, right?
Yeah. Dunbar was putting out like black talent like crazy. Like it put out like the first black
everything.
A lot. it like was actually like it was like a pipeline to Howard like in that time period. It was like if you go to Dunbar, like that's why it was so competitive trying to get into Dunbar, because it was like if you go to Dunbar, like you're probably going to Howard, which, you know, at that point, you know, it's like which is the best school that you
which had a lot more tradespeople back then. That's what you won't tell you. Keep going.
But Dunbar was crazy, and I think that like
that's the book we're talking about. But the thing that's interesting about Dunbar is that when you look at other schools around that time, I was talking to I'll say an old head, and he was telling me about how back at that time, when integration happened, it wasn't just the students, it was the money as well. And I brought this up to Joey before. When you take race out of the equation, right? What is there to separate a white student and a black student, right, from the eyes of the government?
Money and educational attainment.
Exactly. And so what they're going to do is say that everything, it's not it's not going to be equal anymore. Or since it has to be equal, we'll just make sure that all of our students are given the advantages, right? But we'll also offer those same opportunities to the other people, right? Yeah. And because they feel like they have to offer it, to more people now, they're going to need to take the money from somewhere. Yeah. So they took the money out of the communities. They took out the house taxes, right? That they get the money for education from, and they funneled it right into the white communities and right into the white schools, right? Because the black students are now going there, right? They might not be getting treated the same way, right? But they're going to that school, so the funding is going to need to be there. So that's why you saw a lot of black schools getting shut down, right? And that's why I say that Brown versus Wade is the worst thing that could have happened. I'm sorry, Brown versus the Board of Education was the worst thing that could have happened, or could have been one of the worst things that could have ever happened for the black community. And not only that, but I think that the things that happened after the Brown versus Board of Education, not necessarily saying the civil rights movement, but I'm more so saying the ideologies that were being pushed, right? The ideologies that were being pushed of melting a complete society into, or aiming to melt the, and it's,
I feel like Joey itching.
Yeah. I can see it on his face.
I feel like he itching. I feel like he ready to hop in.
And the last thing I want to say is this: the reason why I
feel like Joey itching.
The reason why I feel this way is because with affirmative action, you're only respecting a person's mask. You're not respecting their true identity. You're only respecting the skin color, or you're only respecting their gender, or you're only respecting what sexuality they come from.
All these things do constitute to a varied experience. I mean, it may not be the only thing that gets.
But they don't even care about that experience, though.
They don't.
That's why I say I can't respect affirmative action, because you're only doing it based off of a box that somebody checks, not everything that happened inside of the box or the experience.
Yeah.
They're only looking at if you're black, or if you're Asian, or if you're white. You know what I'm saying? They don't look at the story that comes with that. They're only looking at what is on that box.
But how should they go about that process then? Like, if there's only so much that you can put on like a college application.
I think that's very true as well.
And like affirmative action is a remedy for past discrimination, even because of all the black people who were denied various opportunities in the past. And it's reflected in the power system. You would have to rectify that in some way, which in that sense is giving black people an advantage. I think that one of the unintended consequences of affirmative action is after the 1965 Immigration Act, like a lot of other races came to the United States.
Boy, go crazy.
Yeah, that's really what changed it, because affirmative action was when John F. Kennedy signed the executive order for affirmative action in 1963 or 62. I forget which year it was. It was made for black people in mind.
Yeah,
it wasn't made for all of these other groups. And it's like because these other groups haven't experienced the same level of discrimination in this country as
just blatant racism.
I won't say that.
I would okay. I wouldn't like.
I mean, granted, like we were like, well, I mean, you could say this for a lot of other groups. I mean, like what happened to Asian American, or now Asian Americans, than just the Chinese immigrants who were coming and they were basically forced to work on railroads, right?
Yeah.
And what was
Black people worked on the railroads first, though.
True. I mean, granted, we probably got the brunt of it first, but like that's not to say that these other groups and cultures like didn't experience any form of discrimination.
I don't want to make it seem like that, because I actually got into like a disagreement with a dude on TikTok about this. Like, he made it seem like I'm not trying to say that like other groups haven't experienced that discrimination, because like I had learned, he actually gave me some like facts about about Latino people who like there was some type of racist act in the 1930s that I can't recall. Just like other groups have experienced discrimination in this country, but not at this, not in the same history that black people have.
I know, like when we start trying to compare,
it
get tricky.
Yeah, it do get tricky. It do get tricky because like Asians have experienced discrimination, like Mexicans, like this, and all the ethnic groups that
are not white,
or
don't fall into that white diaspora. I mean, granted, like back in the day, like Irish were seen, but then they coalesced into what is now considered white America.
Exactly,
white diaspora.
Exactly. You know, they assimilated into that. But what I was trying to say is that like affirmative action was created in large part for black people. I'm not saying other groups shouldn't benefit from it, but there are like a lot of immigrants and their children whose families like Indian immigrants and stuff like that, like a lot of immigrants who have come into this country had like some type of advantage when they came in, like
by what,
from this like usually a lot of time like the immigrants who were allowed to come to the United States
were some sort of professional degree,
had some type of degree, like they were that like
or
they
skill.
They weren't just letting any immigrants into the country.
Absolutely.
Like they were giving them businesses, you know, like business grants, like all that stuff when they came into the country, you know, because
I never thought.
Like a lot of immigrants who came into the United States were the quote unquote best of their respective population, you know, compared to black people. And
they just give it to any of us.
No, they wouldn't. We wouldn't get anything.
Yeah,
since we were already here, there was no need for them to be able to provide us with any sort of like economical benefit. Whereas maybe Indian immigrants or Asian immigrants, they would come over and
with nothing.
Not with nothing, or they would come over with nothing, but they would get something and then be able to continue to build on that. I think it's that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that I don't want to go into the whole like comparison game and stuff like that, because you know it does get
one day I will,
you know, but I do think that affirmative action is necessary and it's important, but at the same time I like when this country shows its ass, like, and from that standpoint I mean, like, you know, like these people never really wanted affirmative action. Like, if you don't want me in that space, you know, it's like I think that we should create our own spaces as black people.
And I'm sorry to cut you off.
Much of a head start, bro. I'm sorry. Like I just
that's like
it is so like as much as I would like.
Yeah, I know that's the hard thing.
Like it's just not realistic, bro. Like,
you don't think it's realistic for black people to have their own?
We could create our own black banks, bro. Like we could create our own, like, you know, we could create a Black Wall Street or whatever, bro. But when I tell you like the amount of legislation that would have to be passed, the amount of near impossible scenarios to be able to happen for a black bank to be able to take off the same way that JP Morgan did, that Wells Fargo did, or the same way that, you know, all these other corporations have taken off. Like this is generations in the making.
Like hundreds of years.
Like, bro, like there is no way that we would be able to. I think the best bet, bro, is like to just take the rules that have been given to us, bro, and just beat the system, bro. Like, beat the system. Take whatever, you know, if they want to confine us to this, and this, like, do whatever you can and just beat the system, bro. Like, I don't think that's impossible.
Man, I couldn't agree with you more, brother. I actually took that ideology to a different level. What happens when you beat the system?
I mean, I don't think it's a matter of beating it, bro. I think it's just a matter of being able to achieve a certain level of economic empowerment, bro. And that's an ongoing task, bro. I feel like the problem with the black community is we've been associated with poverty for so fucking long, bro.
Fact.
That this is like become what we identify ourselves with. Yes, we have like cultural issues where we're promoting the wrong things, maybe, but
I don't think that's a maybe.
Yeah, we have cultural issues that are taking us back from kind of like being able to achieve in these environments that are more polished and professional, bro. But like the goal for us should just be economic empowerment for our community, bro. Like shoot, bro. If Nigerians can do it, we can do it.
That's a fact. I think that we have the capacity to provide for ourselves better than anybody because we built this system, even though we have been.
But we clearly don't understand it, bro.
Well, I think I'm not gonna get into my thoughts. The question that we just asked was, where do you think that the black community is headed? And Myles was about to say,
I mean, I jokingly said extinction. And when I say extinction, I mean like when we think about like the traditional like African American community, like descendants of slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just like I'd be curious. I'd be curious to see what like our birth rate numbers are in comparison to our immigrant counterparts who are coming in from places like Nigeria or just other African countries or other people who are now considered a part of the diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
But like I think the black community is changing. I mean, I think we definitely got our a little lick back like after George Floyd. I mean, at least from my perspective, like after the death of George Floyd, bro, like there was so much like emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion that we were kind of, I don't want to say like forced into like white spaces, but we were welcomed with what seemed more open arms than we ever had. So I think this next generation, like I'll stay on point, but I think this next generation or like our generation, I think we're gonna see a lot more black people in leadership positions, and being able to take part in shaping what America is going to look like in the future. I think it's going to be a much more diverse America. I mean, I hate to say it. When I say diverse, I mean, I don't mean just less white males. I mean diverse as in, like, a lot more ethnic groups like, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, South Asians. Like, I think we're going to see a lot of this. And I think programs and stuff that took root in like 2020 and then ended possibly with like affirmative action are going to be able to bear their fruits like 10 years 20 years from now.
Joe, man, I think that's a good point. I think that's I want to hear Joe's.
You asked where I think the black community is going.
Where do you think that the black community is headed?
No, like it's an interesting question. I feel like sometimes something that I battle with a lot is like, like trying to maintain hope for our society.
What kind of hope?
Like I feel like I see so many negative things that occur, especially with like education. Like K through 12 education. Like
man.
Like a lot of black children are not getting educated properly, bruh. Like
I think also is that they're not interested, but keep going.
But it's like, can you really blame a child for not wanting to learn?
You create an interested child. Like you get children excited about education. I feel like that's so crazy. Like you had a poli-sci background. Mm-hmm. I have like a finance background. I went to economics. You went to education.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Man, look, we done siloed ourselves. I'm listening.
Like I think that like when you want to create a society that is powerful, that is strong and has like knowledge of self and is prideful, I think it does start with like education, and I think wanting to at least be educated and hear different perspectives, like you can't want to improve the black community if nobody wants to improve it.
I have to ask you a question.
It's like a lot of these kids if a lot of them don't even care about that stuff. I think that the black community, like Dr. Claude Henderson has always said, like do we even have a black community anymore, or do we just have a bunch of individuals? Because like when you go to different communities or something like that, like if you like take the the Asian American community, for example. Like when you go to like a Chinatown or a Japantown, stuff like that, like you know when you're in that area.
Right.
Like you already know. Like you can see the cultural landmarks. You can see the businesses. You can see all that stuff. Like how many places can you go in America and you see the same thing for the black community? You know, like
I think
zero.
Nah, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I think what has become black culture has become hip hop culture. So
I disagree with keep going.
But with that, as a baseline, bro, like I feel like we've just kind of diluted ourselves across everybody, bro.
I will agree with that.
Like I think the perspective, bro, like what is the black community? Like when we describe it,
like where is it?
But is it we fail to see it because it's so entrenched in everything that we do? Like our music is everywhere, our clothing is everywhere, our language is everywhere. Like because like the black community is so basically like inseparably tied to what being a black American is. Like of course it's not gonna look like freaking Little Africa.
Yeah.
Like it's not gonna look like that. Like we've never looked like that.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting, I mean, what you're saying, something that I agree with, and I always say it, and I also add that I think that when it comes to black culture and stuff like that, I think that when you are in those all black spaces like a Howard or something like that, I think there are, or just an HBCU, like, and anywhere where the black community is like is significant in numbers, like there are things that black people do that I don't think that mainstream American culture doesn't know about, but I feel like mainstream American culture thinks that they know us better than they actually do, if that makes sense, because like they hear all the hip hop, they hear our slang, like they see our clothes, you know, they associate that stuff with black culture, and they're all the negatives with that too, like all the more negative aspects of those different things that I just named, and they begin to associate black culture with just like hip hop. When I think it is much more than that. We're just never
keep going. Like what is it? Like if we were to like really tangibly say like okay, let me say the Asian community is
actually no, you go first. I want to hear what you have to say.
Like they have like traditional clothing.
Yeah. I would say that black culture is, you know, like that. I kind of want to say that culture that is formed out of resistance, if that makes sense. You know, like a lot of the things that we do are kind of like that we kind of do subconsciously are kind of like antithetical to how Americans traditionally move, if that makes sense. And it's like it's difficult to explain because a lot of that.
That's the word of the day. I need you to re-articulate that word right there.
Antithetical?
Yes, please.
Just like the opposite.
So describe Asian culture. I feel like describe Asian culture to me, and then let's see if we can just find some like comparisons, or not even comparisons.
So let me give you my definition of blackness, or my definition of what the black community is. I believe it is the abundance of resilience that we all have when we are faced. But it goes deeper though. It goes deeper than that, because why is it that when we are faced with adversity, right, we have similar reactions to it, right? I don't like to stereotype, but when this day and age, a lot of young black men are a lot more bipolar in a sense of they're completely non-confrontational, or they're way too confrontational, right? And so within that, the polarity spectrum of that would, in my mind, it would be conflict resolution, right? And so when I look at that, I look at how we address conflict. And every time we address conflict, 9 times out of 10, we're going to address it head on, because that's just who we are as people, as a people.
But like, I feel like these are all things that do not define a culture, but maybe define kind of like a mode of thought. Granted, like you can define mode of thought as a culture, or like, you know, people share these similarities in thought and similarities in experiences, and therefore they take on a specific identity. But like Asian culture,
Okay.
Red is considered a lucky color. 8 is considered an unlucky number. They have a traditional food.
Okay.
They have a language. They have
I see what you're going.
They have a clothing.
They have their own calendar. They have
like if we look, I bet you if we look up the definition of like what culture is, it's gonna come up
as traditions and customs.
Traditions and customs, stuff like that. So like, but like when we look at Black culture, like I feel like hip hop is our music, or like rap is our music, or let's go R&B.
I think that perspective is interesting, because we have to look at all music. If you look at all music, we created all music.
No, but like
even if you look even like at the beginning of music, Beethoven himself was a Moor, right? And so if you look at that and how Shakespeare himself was a Moor, right? Then you start going like down the time.
Say Shakespeare wasn't even a real person. They say
he was a collective of a few different people, yeah.
But going back to that thing, it's like,
what would be the Black culture? I think that, as I said though, it's the resilience, but not necessarily the resilience itself, but the ramifications of what happens after, like that form the identity. Like resilience would probably be the attribute, but it's not necessarily like the identity factor. You know what I'm saying? So like, for instance, I've been through a lot in my life, right? And I've bounced back numerous times, right? But you wouldn't necessarily look at me and call me resilient. You would just look at the things that I have been through, right? And the products of what I have been through and the successes that I've like come out with. Those are the things that I would qualify as my identity. So when I look at the Black community, I look at what have we championed?
I see what you're saying.
You know, because like rap is something, and rap and hip hop is something that we can champion because it's something that's resilient, right? That's not how the rest of the world looks at it. Yeah. They look at it as something that's like, oh, it's cool, it's hip. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily a reflection of resiliency, which is why rap has progressed into what it is now.
Word.
But when I look at hip hop, I see that as something that, in a sense, encompasses almost every aspect of Black culture, because it is so deeply rooted in resiliency.
I see you. Okay. I
agree with that, and I think that one thing that is like interesting about Black culture in itself is that like Black culture, what we know as Black culture today, like came up in America.
Ooh,
you know, like it came up.
Go deeper into that. I like that part.
You know, and like when you talk about like the civil rights movement and like integration and stuff like that.
I didn't say that part. I said that part. Just for all the the millennials out there. I don't even know. What are we, Generation Z or X? Anyway.
But I think that when we was talking about like integration, all that stuff like that. Yeah. I had read in like Cat's Class and Race Biology by Oliver Cox.
Class. Wow.
Yeah.
Go crazy.
Yeah.
You showed me that book. I remember you showed me that book.
It's a fat book. It's a fat one. But in the section about race, he talked about like assimilation, and he wrote it in 1948, and this is before the civil rights movement and all that stuff. Well, before it became like mainstream, and I think that
wow, that's actually very deep.
Yeah, and I think that he said that like our culture, like he didn't say this, but this is what I inferred from it, that like Black American culture is kind of like we were always going to integrate or assimilate. Yep. Because that is kind of like the modem of our culture. Like once we were released from slavery, like we didn't have any other culture to imitate, so we started imitating white culture. Like we wanted to create success and how white Americans view success. You know, we started building like cities and towns and all that stuff. You know, like
what else was we supposed to do?
Wow, you know, that's deep. Keep going.
Like what else are we supposed to do? Like it's not like we can just go back to Africa and get back with that culture. We're gonna.
I got shot down.
You know, yeah,
Garveyism.
And like, it's interesting because like we had once existed in those more like separated like enclaves. You know, like we had actually existed in those black communities where like we were, you know, where our music was like. Where it wasn't mainstream, where like white people used to go to Harlem and try to get a dose of that black culture.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, like this stuff is crazy. Like,
Cotton Club.
Yeah. Like, what? He said a dose of that black
Dose of that black culture. A dose of it. Get that jab, boy.
You know, and it's like black culture, you know, like it was created in America, you know, like there are vestiges of that African culture within black culture that are harder to see now, but they still exist, especially like when you like go down south, you know. Like,
you see all that.
You go to the
food,
yeah. When you go to the Black American homeland, you know, like as I like to call it, you know, like
would you call it the motherland?
Yeah,
the Black American motherland.
The Black American motherland, you know, like
the South.
And this,
that's tokened.
Yeah, and it's like
that's coined right now. I just want you to know that. You know, Black Lotus just coined that.
Coined what?
The Black American homeland or Black American motherland.
Look, he gonna have to go back. He forgot it.
But I think that like this, you can get a conversation about if the Great Migration kind of like hurt the black community like a lot because like it separated like a lot of us from that culture. Like, you know, like my grandmother grew up in San Francisco. Like she moved here in 1948 and she went to integrated high school.
That's got the same story, bro.
That's why do we all have the same story?
Because that's how black people ended up in all these various places.
Yeah, like my grandmother went to Washington High School in San Francisco, and like
she went to Washington.
Yeah.
Damn.
Where did your grandma?
Well, okay, my grandma didn't go to high school out here, but she moved out here. But she had the same story. My grandma moved out here. My grandpa moved out here.
I mean, our families know each other, yeah, so like, you know, like
my grandma went to Beehive. That's crazy.
But and my grandfather grew up in Amarillo, Texas, and then he moved out here when he was 20, so he went to high schools out there and everything. And my grandma was telling me like a year ago, something like that like when my grandfather first came here, like, he knew all these things about like black culture because like that's what was like taught to him because, you know, he grew up in like black areas as opposed to like my grandma grew up in like integrated environments and stuff like that. So that black
What's
culture.
What's that experience back then? Like, I feel like that ties in literally to what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
What was
everything's connected.
Like integrated experience.
Well, like her integrated experience was interesting, and she was saying that like they didn't even really know about like all the stuff that was happening to black people in the South. Like they didn't know. Like she was showing me her yearbook like yesterday. The class of 1957, like showing me her yearbook, and she was showing like, all the clubs and stuff like that, and so she was like, yeah, like we didn't know what was going on, like they didn't tell us anything.
So she was born in the 30s?
Yeah, God. But she was telling me like my grandma grew up in Fillmore, and she always told me about how it was like it was all black community. Like she said, she talks about it very glowingly. She was like, we had everything there. You know, like we had black businesses, we had community stores, we had churches, restaurants, like we had everything. And I feel like that essence is kind of like it depicts black culture in a different way.
Oh, I thought you said
you can like go into like a black area, see like what all of our different stuff is like. What is the difference between our culture as opposed to it being kind of just like assimilated into like American culture? And
I feel that now. Okay,
you know
I feel you. It's like having this area where everything is owned by black people. Like the restaurant right here represents what my native food would be, or I can go to this place right here and this dude been making suits for me since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Or like I can go over here and I can worship on the church in the. I feel that.
Exactly.
I feel that. We don't have, or we do have it. It's just considered the ghetto now.
Yeah, exactly. It's just considered the ghetto, and when
We just haven't seen it.
But it's not owned by itself. No.
and we can get into a conversation about like urban renewal and all those policies that destroyed like a lot of those black communities and stuff like that. But
what was urban renewal? You want to give me a little history lesson?
oh my god,
I'm gonna let him do it because he can do it the best. He can do it the best.
Okay. I'll give you like a quick summary. But this is urban renewal is like one of the things that really fucked up the black community that nobody really talks about. And basically after World War II,
That dang near is the beginning of gentrification, wasn't it?
yeah.
I never even thought about. I never even connected that. Wow.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Gentrification next.
Okay.
After urban renewal.
Okay.
Actually,
But
we'll get back to this on the next episode.
Ah.
no.
Thank you guys for watching another episode of the Black Lotus Podcast.
Are you ending it right now?
No, this is break. This is the second part. It's the end of the second part. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Welcome back to the Black Lotus Podcast. This is the final part of this episode. We have the brilliant mind of Myles Savage with us. I am your co-host, Mike Blue.
Josiah Jacobs.
And we're about to get into
Urban renewal. Okay. So what I was gonna say is that after World War II, the GI Bill and all that stuff, like white America had to integrate their troops back into what was about to be like a burgeoning American economy. You know, like America being a post-war economy, plus it being the only country that wasn't really destroyed after World War II.
Yep.
It had a unique place as a superpower and everything. So this prosperity allowed for, like, they wanted their white troops to be straight, and they wanted them to really buy into the system. So they started building all these suburbs and stuff like that. And I usually people had lived in the city, so they had, or just like around the city and stuff like that. But they started building these suburbs that were further away from the city and stuff like that. So when they built these suburbs were just for white people. Like, they weren't for black people. You know, like a lot of the
White flight.
Yeah, like a lot of the loans, like over 67,000 black men applied for the GI Bill, and only 100 got the benefits. The benefits were free college.
Repeat that one more time.
67,000 black men applied for the GI Bill.
67,000, my nigga.
Yes.
You know how many grandkids that is, bro?
Yes.
That's the detriment of a nation, bro.
Yes.
Oh my
yes.
God.
And it's crazy. I learned this like a few weeks ago. Like, a lot of the benefits of the GI Bill went to like a lot of these big white schools that we see today. Like, a lot of these big like public white institutions, like, they got hella money from the GI Bill, bruh. That's why a lot of schools are so big now. And HBCUs didn't get any of those funds.
Yep. Go back. But why was that?
Why was what?
Why did that happen? Brown versus Board of Education.
No, that's not even a Brown v. Board thing, bro. Like, this is before Brown v. Board.
I know, but
This
you
is
don't
the 40s.
think. But you don't think that all came together that way? Why do you think they siphoned the money right then and there? They knew it right then and there. All the schools were gone by the 60s.
Brown v. Board, that was more of like a K through 12 thing, though. I'm talking about like colleges.
That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
you're talking about colleges.
But that's also what I'm saying. It has to start somewhere. You see what I'm saying? It started with the colleges.
But like, the thing about Brown v. Board though is like white people didn't want that to happen. Like, it's not like they were planning for its success. Like, they didn't want Brown v. Board to happen. And honestly, like, it was even like, if it was implemented differently, it would be. This is kind of what I wanted to say earlier when you said I was itching. Like I wanted to say that, like, Brown v. Board in itself wasn't like the worst thing to happen. It was implemented the wrong way. Like,
Go into that.
If they actually made like Brown v. Board, like, if they had given the equal money to the black schools as they did to the white schools, you know, like, these school systems would look completely different. That would actually be real integration. Real integration is not the BS that we got now, where only one side assimilates into the other culture, and
factuality.
White people don't go into black culture. Like it's supposed to be, black people have their own stuff, white people have their own stuff. Now we can all like go into each other's businesses.
If that's the dream of integration, I can get behind that.
You know, like, that's what it was supposed to be.
But see, I thought that's what segregation was supposed to be.
No, segregation was like y'all stay over there, we stay over here.
But the whole premise of it was separate but equal. But they never assured us equality with integration.
But segregation wasn't equal either, though.
Were we doing better with integration?
Were we? I mean,
segregation wasn't equal though. Like.
But then, that's how it was propagandized. I don't know if I said that right, but I think that was how you're supposed to say it. But that's how it was presented to us.
Segregation?
Yeah, it was presented to us as separate but equal.
Well, yeah.
That's why integration ended up actually getting passed.
Yeah,
that's because we determined that it wasn't separate but equal, and therefore integration needed to happen.
And I think with that, we just completely got rid of the idea that we could have equal.
Well, okay. Let me continue the whole urban renewal thing because it connects. But like, so after that, they started building all those suburbs, and what they needed to get white people to those suburbs was the highways. Yeah. So with the 1956 Highway Commission Act, it gave the government the permission to like move, to like build highways over different parts of the city, so they could get these white people transported, from their suburbs to their jobs in the city, stuff like that. So a lot of these highways were built through black communities. Like I recommend y'all look at the Instagram page, Segregation by Design, which outlines like all like it happened in like and read the book The Color of Law, which is
that's a great book right there.
Which just outlines the whole process. Like they literally built highways through damn near every black business district. Like you go through like Detroit, San Francisco, like Houston, Dallas, like Miami, like you can go in every, like all these big cities had a black area. They they had that black area that I was talking about. They had that black community, and they built those
eminent domain.
My great grandma lost her house because eminent domain, bro.
No way.
Yes, bro.
Affected.
Yes.
Just think about
through the Fillmore district. They destroyed Fillmore
twice. They did that twice. Manifest Destiny and eminent domain. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, like it's like Trail of Tears, like modern day Trail of Tears. Like y'all gotta
pack up and
y'all gotta back your shit up and get the fuck out of here.
Then we're gonna put black people in the projects.
All right, wow. Now connecting this all back. Thank you for that history lesson. How y'all feel about gentrification though?
It's like,
cause I mean as somebody with real estate development aspirations, bro, I feel like I got a contrary opinion where it's kind of like, if I'm giving you money to purchase your home and you say, fuck your community, I'm out of here, and I'm going to just give it to somebody else, whose fault is it really? Especially if there was a wealth transfer. I'm paying you to purchase your home. And I'm going in the community. I'm paying everybody. I'm paying everybody to purchase their home.
Let me ask you this question.
And we gonna build this up.
Let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
If a person comes to your doorstep in the middle of a crisis, right, and says that they can fix it, right, are you going to take that? Are you going to take the fix, or are you going to say, fuck you, and keep fixing it myself? Especially if for general... So that's exactly that's what's going on. Because what I noticed
that was a manufactured crisis. This is what I don't know.
I think. See, this is the thing. I think a lot of the times it is a manufactured crisis because a lot of these big development firms and a lot of these big construction companies, they want that property, right? So they'll literally buy up all the foreclosed homes or all the abandoned homes on blocks, right, in the hood, and then once they have a good control over that, they'll go to the other, they'll go to the home people, right? They'll go to the homeowners, right? And they'll walk up to them and say, hey, I'll offer you this in cash right now. Yeah. You want that? Some people are going to say yes because they don't know better, right? Yeah. Because they don't know that they have something that's of value, right? They're not even thinking twice of why this person wants this. They're thinking, there's money right there. Let me go grab that. I can go get something bigger and shinier, right?
I will never support like sharking people, like, lowballing somebody and trying to.
And that's what they do. But keep going.
Their property at like a hella discounted price, or you actually manufacture a crisis and then present a solution of I'm gonna buy your home to get you out of this. That's out of the question for me. Mm-hmm. But like, I feel like it wouldn't be gentrification if the people moving into these communities were wealthy black people, or if the developer that's purchasing up this property was somebody black. I mean, you can still do gentrification use black, but I think the problem is with the you got the explosion, you create the vacuum, and then what comes in? What comes in after? I feel like that's the problem, and people don't agree or don't get along with the culture after that.
I think that with okay.
When you say like manufacturer crisis, are you talking about something specific or?
No, I'm just saying because like I just thought of like a scenario of like, okay, what would be considered gentrification that I wouldn't agree with, and it was if people had like a manufacturer crisis, like they're creating a problem and then they're proposing a solution. But I don't know about that. I got to do some more research. But if that was what the original term of gentrification was, then that'd be crazy.
Gentrification only happened because white people wanted what we had.
Or they saw an opportunity for them to be able to move closer into these cities, or they saw an opportunity to be able to purchase real estate at a discounted rate, and they thought that they could add value to an area, and they decided to act on that dream of adding value to an area that ultimately displaced the people who were already in these communities.
That brings up a very interesting that brings up a very interesting point of the white savior complex I never thought about. But essentially, it's still the same thing. They wanted what we had.
I mean,
not necessarily,
like
the camaraderie, but like I'm saying, like literally what we had. They wanted the house. They wanted.
When you frame it like they want what we have, it's
not what we have. We don't have it anymore.
Okay. They want what we had. It's kind of like, oh, I'm about to come in and just rob these black folks. Versus. I mean, yeah, I can
see what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying. It's like, oh, that black person has it. I want it. I'm gonna get it.
Not even that. It's like, oh, I messed up. You know what I'm saying? We offered them these industrial jobs in Richmond, and now they have port jobs in Oakland, and now they bought up all the houses in West Oakland, and now we are building up all these skyscrapers, but we don't have nowhere to live, right? Because they already own the houses. And now I'm thinking, oh, wait, how are we going to be able to live in there? The suburbs way too far. Oh, I know what we can do. We just build out mini mansions out there and market them as something that's better, even though they're built on landfills. And we just give them enough money to buy those mini mansions, and we just come in and take our houses back.
The only part that I disagree with that, and I don't even disagree with that because that's, completely plausible, is like the amount of work, or not even work, the amount of evidence it would take to actually prove that somebody was thinking those thoughts and actually acted on those thoughts versus it was, I see an opportunity to be able to purchase property at a discounted rate, and I'm going to purchase this property at a discounted rate so I can build it up because I see a desire for white people to be able to move, not white people, more affluent people to be able to move into the cities, is like connecting those dots is like crazy. Like I'm not jumping. I need a bridge.
Well, I mean, we had the jobs. Like they literally, the Great Migration happened because we needed port jobs. We needed those people to work in those factories to make those.
I thought the Great Migration happened because we was trying to get the hell up out of the South.
It was a mixture of both. There was two migrations, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Where to? Yeah, the first one in the 1910s and then the second one in the 1940s and 50s.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was to escape the South, but a lot of it was also to get a better life too.
Yeah, better economics.
Because of job opportunities.
Word. There we go.
Because job opportunities. Like that's why my grandfather moved from Amarillo, Texas. Like he was like, I want to improve my life. Like I want to get it.
Oh my wait.
That's wild as shit. No, because my grandma, she moved out here. This man about to have an epiphany. He about to have a thoughtgasm. my grandma or my great auntie, she moved out here. She moved out here before my grandma, and my grandma came and moved out here with her when she was in her 20s. My grandma was born in the 40s.
But we got similar stories, bro.
So my grandma came in 1910 probably in that first Great Migration, and then my my grandma, my actual grandma, she came in after her to live with her in that second wave.
Your family from Texas or Louisiana?
Neither. Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Oklahoma.
Okay.
That's the 4 grandparents.
Okay.
That's interesting. It's interesting to see how the ones from Alabama, Mississippi come to the West Coast. Because usually people from Alabama, Mississippi went to like Chicago.
So we got hella family in Chicago.
You know what's really funny about that? I got heck family in Chicago.
We got mad family in Chicago.
That's where the train stations. That's where the train lines went.
Yep. The reason why my grandma made it out here, I don't know why my grandma on my dad's side ended up coming out here, but I know my grandma on my mom's side, she ended up coming out here because my auntie lived out here and she came to live with her sister.
Yeah.
And then my grandpa, damn, I gotta find out. He was from Oklahoma. He was probably Cherokee. Why the hell black people in Oklahoma?
Actually,
there were a lot of black people in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like
what?
Like
yeah.
Tulsa. Hella black people.
Damn.
Yeah, hella black people in Oklahoma, bro.
They dispersed from Tulsa, bro.
Yeah, I don't know why my grandpa.
It's interesting that you say that though, Joe, because
What was the epiphany that you had?
Yeah.
bro, I want you to think about this. I work the ports now, right? And so I look at all the people, even at you know your pops works at the port, right?
Just called me. That's
Your pops work at the port, bro.
Word.
And as I'm down there, I kind of look at like the environment that's down there. I'll save the environment for a different podcast that I'll probably do with the coworker.
Sure.
But what I will say is this: it makes complete sense why your grandfather was a longshoreman, and it didn't really click to me. It didn't click to me that your grandfather also moved from the South to get that job.
How do you know about it?
How did he know about it? I mean, I don't even know. I don't know how he.
How did information travel back then?
I don't know how he got that job. I mean, I know.
Whoa, that's an even deeper question. Because how did he know about that? Who told him about that job?
Well, he didn't move to San Francisco trying to find like that job. He just knew because he had brothers who lived out here. His oldest brother lived out here in San Francisco. So
What did he do?
and his father lived out here too. But he didn't really know his father as well. But he knew his brother. He was close with his brother. So he moved in with his brother. And then he was just trying to find work and everything when he was out here. But yeah, no, my grandfather worked 2 jobs, bro. He was a longshoreman and an engineer.
What?
Yeah, for like over
He
30
get a
years.
degree in engineering or some shit?
Nah.
They just.
By trade. That's crazy.
He learned it. I don't know how he learned it, but he was a welder.
By trade.
Bro, I swear to God, college degrees are a fucking scam, bro.
Don't get me started. Please don't get me started.
pretty
Please
sure-
don't get me started.
I'm pretty sure that he might have learned those skills in high school, but I'm not sure.
Even more fucking proof that this shit is a fucking scam.
Oh my god.
The fact that you can take a high school student and turn him into an engineer without having to get a 4-year degree, bro.
Bro,
I want us to think about this.
My uncle was an engineer at the San Francisco airport. Like, he one of the best dudes there. Like, they look at him as a legend over there. He don't have a college degree either.
Bro, that is wild to me, bro.
You know,
They just wanted to get us in debt, man. They wanted to sell that American dream to us.
bro, this is my thing.
College used to be free before black people had major access to the institutions. Like, not all college was free, but it was significantly cheaper. But in California, it was free. Public college used to be free in California, bro.
Okay, I will say this. The increased access to college education, along with the privatization of certain universities, I think that probably contributed to the increase in price, or the beginning of a price.
The increase in price, but also the price of college went up like crazy during the Ronald Reagan presidency.
Reaganomics. Wait, when was taken off the gold standard?
1972.
When was Reagan?
Nixon.
Oh, Nixon.
Yeah.
Was Nixon before or after Reagan?
Before.
Okay, so it didn't happen. Okay,
Yeah.
but continue with the Reagan. I apologize.
But like the thing about Reagan is like Reagan was governor of California from 1967 to 1975, and under his governorship, he implemented a tuition for all public colleges in California.
Why?
A lot of that was because to make it harder because he hated college students, because those were the people who were really protesting all these ideas that all the things that he believed in, because like in that time period, like college students were super like anti-war and like anti-establishment.
Republican?
Yeah,
Heavy Republican.
Damn, when America was red last time it was him.
when America was like
red state Republican.
Go Cali. I think
Wasn't Jimmy? Was Jimmy blue or red?
Jimmy Carter.
Yeah,
He was a Democrat.
Oh.
I think California was red for a minute.
But continue. My
Maybe,
apologies.
like Reagan, like the student loans, all that stuff, like that era of like, I wouldn't even just put this on Reagan, but just like that whole conservative authority like made sure that college was a lot harder to access for different types of people, because that's who was questioning the American order, the American establishment, because like I was saying earlier, like college students was really like fucking shit up like in the 1960s, like that's when they established all these black studies departments in these universities, like
Temple.
after the civil rights movement and all that stuff, and he hated that. So like the best way to make it not as accessible or at least like stick it to these black people or just all these people in general is just like to add that cost to make it not as accessible for people of color and stuff like that.
So then why wasn't we going to college before then?
Why weren't we going to college before?
Yeah.
When
it was free.
Well, there wasn't as many black people out in California yet. And actually, I was reading.
I know it's still blatant racism.
I was reading like
Wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, it was harder to get into college as a black person.
Well, I'm saying like there was just blatant like racism though, like deterring black people from going to these institutions.
Yeah. I mean, like, and black people was still going, but like their quotas. Like I've been reading the autobiography of Robert F. Smith, who was a black political science scholar. I've been reading it recently, and he was like he went to UCLA.
Wait a minute, Robert F. Smith.
No, I mean Robert C. Smith. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, wait, Robert F. Smith,
Black billionaire? He's a
brother, I found out I might have a connect.
No way.
But yeah, he was talking about like when he first got into college, like I think like UCLA was like less than like it had like less than 100 black students.
That's so crazy.
It was crazy. Like they weren't really in California. It was like hella racist. Back then, bro, it was crazy racist. So that's why black people weren't really going
Shout out to Albany
back then as much. And like I was saying, like black people hadn't migrated as much yet. And black people used to work like college wasn't always looked at as like the pathway to like success.
Yeah. Go get your ass a factory job.
Yeah.
Go have you a baby at 20 years old, and you gonna be cool.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like black people was in the factories, bro.
Bro, imagine if we could really
yards.
do that now, though. Like, it's not even an option anymore.
No.
It's like not even like an option.
You could go work at a Tesla factory and try to make a good living for yourself, but if you...
They gonna overwork.
I think the American dream changed as well.
That's deep. That's deep. I don't even think. I think there's too many American dreams now.
No. I think it's new.
You think that there's one?
I think there's one new one, bro.
What do you think it is?
I don't think it's owning a home, having a family, having a good job.
Okay.
I think that shit is just went straight to being a millionaire. Or like having some sort of like I don't think it's something like extremely like realistic. Well, granted, I hate to say it, but like the American dream of what it was is not incredibly realistic in terms of like
I think
today's climate.
I think it is realistic now compared to what it was back then.
You think so?
What, bro?
This is
The prices that homes is going up, the amount that wages have not gone up.
I'm saying compared to what it was back then because of a few different reasons. One, people have more access to resources now. When I say that, I mean like literally around the world, right? So like people have different markets that they're able to tap into. you know, and they have different sources of like information they can get it from. And so in that respect, I believe that America has opened it for anybody to be anybody, right? And that wasn't how it was when we were first thinking about the American dream. Like racism was a heavy burden, you know, and sexism was a heavy burden. Now anybody can do it, you know, and so they had to change the American dream because the nuclear family is not something that people respect anymore. You know, people don't respect a person who has a housewife or a dude who's a breadwinner, you know, and who's mashing.
Yeah, I don't know if people. I don't know. Like I feel like what you're saying, Michael, is like kind of like the illusion of choice. You know, like
that's true. That's very true.
Like we can touch all these global markets and stuff like that. Yeah, we can. We can tap in. Yeah, we can tap in. Like we have the potential to, but
the amount of niggas acting on it.
Yeah,
very true.
But like,
but those people who are acting on it, are those not the people who are millionaires?
But the American dream, in theory, the American dream is supposed to be achievable for the average person. Like the average person, not everybody's gonna have like a fan base. Not everybody is going to be able to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I mean, in the system, somebody has to like there are the haves and the have-nots in the system. Like not everybody's going to be able to like achieve that. Like not every
capitalist. Talk to me.
Man,
tribalism all the way.
Man, I've really been like.
I feel like that's what people battle with in academia, bro. They get in academia and they just poli-sci majors. They hate us at Temple. They hate us at Temple in this business school, bro. Like y'all hate us with a passion, bro.
Because like
I can see that. I can see that heavy.
Capitalism.
I respect capitalists though. Keep on.
Capitalism is like, you know, I have great friends who are capitalists, and it's like I don't have a problem with like somebody being like a capitalist, so to say, but it's like it's not made for everybody to succeed. Like, you know, like it's made for people to be at the bottom, you know, like capitalism.
What is the bottom?
Ooh,
poverty.
Okay, but like American poverty or like Somali poverty? Because like I think like something that like even like when I see like us as Americans look at people in other countries, like we're like, oh my God, they're living in such dire conditions. But I feel like that's us placing our expectation on them. Like that's us placing our American expectation where we're already the 1% of the world onto these people. Granted, I believe that everybody should have a right to food, clean water, clothing, and shelter. But as to how much of these other luxuries that we kind of experience in a first world country, like I'm like sometimes that type of stuff, like do you need that to be happy?
I'll say that like okay, those people who are in Somalia or just any impoverished country, you know, like I do think it is. I don't think we should place like what our expectation of happiness onto those people, because when you look at studies, those are some of the happiest people in the world. You know, like
I don't know who's taking the study, but
like they're happy. A lot of them are happy, but I will say that like I mean, for even in America, like the system of capitalism, like I don't think that it produces people who are fulfilled in life. I think that it creates like an environment in which everybody is just trying to make money to survive. And I don't think that's how humans should be living. I think that like in our country today, like I'm talking to like friends and stuff like that, saying that like, yeah, I'm working this job, but I don't feel fulfilled and stuff like that. Like I don't feel like I'm doing something that is beneficial, and it's like we're all doing this to just make money and just go along in this rat race. And like sometimes like,
I'm sorry. One thing, let me go through with your train of thought because I remember this.
Because like I think that, you know, when you see like a lot of different like money making tutorials and just like advice on how to get money and stuff like that, you know, it's like it's kind of like people expect the unreasonable out of everybody, like, you have to be like a hustler, like you gotta have like 3-4 side hustles in order to be happy. And I you know, like when I see that, it's like, is this really the way that we have to live to be fulfilled in this country? You know, it's like, is for as advanced as a society is, like, is this the best that we can do?
Let me offer just this question. Do you think, I think it's interesting that you brought up Somalia. Do you think that they rely on money as much?
That's a good question.
I don't think that third world countries rely on money as much.
Yeah, but I think more than do they rely on money, I think it's more of like the expectation for each of our worlds is different because of how much access to information we might have is completely different. Like, out here in America, it is nothing for me to flip on my phone and go look at fucking Grant Cardone and see that nigga's balling. Whereas this motherfucking Somalia, he might not have a smartphone.
Yeah.
The flyest nigga that he might see in his town is a motherfucker with, you know, like, I don't know, some fucking Jordans on type shit.
But even that though, because that you're still pushing an American expectation on that success.
Okay, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I just use that as like an analogy. But like my point though is like, I think kind of like to what you're saying in terms of like people are not happy, people are not fulfilled. Is that a product of them choosing, or excuse me, is that a product of them not meeting the expectations that they had for their life? Or is that more so a product of them not being fulfilled in the path that they chose for themselves? Like, you made a decision that you regret in terms of either a field of study or a job that you took or a decision that you made. Like how much of this is like intrinsically tied to the capitalistic system versus people not being happy in the system based on either expectations or decisions?
I think that, like, I really think that it can be like a little bit of both. I think that a lot of the decisions that people make that eventually lead to unfulfillment are like a product of the capitalist system itself. Because like, let's say that if I truly wanted to major in what I liked going into college, I would have majored in history, but I chose to major in political science because I was like, there would probably be more opportunities for me if I major in political science as opposed to history. It's still kind of related, but there would be more opportunities for that. I feel like that small decision in itself is a decision that millions of people make on like tenfold. Like, some people will, like, I have a friend who majored in accounting when he really wanted to major in philosophy. That's really what he liked to do, but he wasn't.
That shit don't make money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't make money, but I think that it's.
But how much money was he expecting to make? Niggas want to be millionaires and philosophers. Like, Aristotle was not balling.
No.
Wow.
Like, Plato was not balling.
You know,
these niggas were bums on the street, and they was literally ranting at the public like, you fools, you desire to have riches when you could have knowledge and wisdom. Like, once again, it's like, is this a product of your expectation? Because, granted, like, all of that, bro, like, I'm thinking to myself, all right, bro, I got the chance to make it, or I got the chance to be, you know, broker than others.
Yeah.
Or I can live a communist society where I don't get a choice. I don't, like, granted, like, when I think of communist society, I think of what happened to Cuba. And when I think of what happened to Cuba, I think about how every fucking Cuban is a Republican. Every Cuban that comes to America is a Republican because that is nightmare fuel for them. It's like,
that makes me really want to go to Cuba now. That makes me extremely want to go to Cuba and see what the society's like.
Cuba under Castro, like Cuba.
It's changed though, huh?
Cuba under like no autonomy. Your labor is for the state. You like everybody gets the exact same. Like, there's no motivation for competition. There's no motivation to do better. Like, why is the United States Postal Service so fucking garbage? Because they got no competition. Because their paychecks are guaranteed. That shit is inefficient as fuck.
They got UPS. They got UPS.
That shit is inefficient as fuck.
And FedEx, and now they have Amazon
USPS. They got competition now because we can talk about which one is better, blah blah blah. But they got no competition from the perspective of they will always be employed because the government is subsidizing them. Like kind of like how we talked about like being around ambitious people.
Okay.
Like how there's a desire for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
I can see that. Yeah.
I feel like that ambition is a byproduct of competitiveness, and that competitiveness is a byproduct of the idea that I can lose something or the idea that I won't be able to have something, and it motivates me. Or not just me, but just in general.
Yeah.
I think that's.
I mean, I think that like. I would say that, you know, for like the past few years, like I think how my mind operates, like just like what I want out of life, like what I look at as success, like I think I do operate like with the mindset of like a capitalist.
That's right.
But I feel like when I just think about how the world is and just how much better that it could be. I just see like where the society is heading. I just don't know if it's like I just don't know if I could consider myself like a capitalist. Just like knowing that like
all the destruction is
just
caused.
all the destruction that is caused and the exploitation that
Money's bloody.
That is
Money is bloody.
Caused just knowing all that. It's like it's just so interesting because it's like I hate having to like the idea of investing into a system that I know is corrupt, is corrupt and hurting people. You know, that's kind of like and so one of my advisors at Hopkins kind of like notices about me, like when I like think about a lot of things, like I really think like in terms of like the collective instead of like the individual, and I think that like capitalism in itself, like
it is individualism,
like pushes so much individualism in this society, and I think that's like
every man for yourself,
and I think that's one way in which I feel like community is folding, like not even just black community, but just like in America,
that's fact.
As a whole, like people don't really like. People don't really like to have fun like in the same way, you know. Like people don't get in social gatherings in person. You know, we have Instagram now, you know, which is just like individualism, like
hyperbolized,
boy. Hyperbolized. We all have our own like
feed,
like for our own feed, like
God,
like
why do we call it feed?
Oh, I never even thought about that. Oh God, we just feed on.
Cattle. Like cattle.
It's chattel. It's chattel. Wow, it's chattel digital slavery.
Like we have our own feed that's all catered to us specifically. That we just consuming content over and over and over again, like. And it's like, bro, we want people to consume this content, but it's like shoving it down, bro.
It's an invasion.
Like everybody's competing for like influence in that way, and it's like, I just think like, is this the natural way to live? Like do we have to?
Is this life?
Like, is this life? Like, is this life? Like, bro,
shout out to the Commodores.
I struggle with this all the time, like literally trying to think like how much time am I gonna put into like my craft and what I feel like my purpose is and stuff like that, as opposed to just like living life. Like it's something I battle with constantly. Like it's like, do I want to work hard on this one thing in order to achieve the goals that I have for myself, or do I want to like enjoy myself, like hop on the phone with like a friend or hang out with like family and friends and stuff like that. Like and I feel like I constantly have to choose like all that stuff, cause I want to be successful so bad, but it's like, why do I want to be so successful? Like, is that my natural inclination as a human, or is that the capitalist system feeding into what I want to and what I want out of life? Am I even thinking for myself? And that's
man.
Yeah. If I could talk.
Yeah.
Mic work.
Hold on, we
Come, yeah, that's my work
Come
right
on,
here.
bro, let's go.
Look at this. He said I had to hop in.
Yeah.
He said I had to hop in.
Wait, hold on.
The whole the idea of the capitalism debate brings up some interesting points, because it's like, if you think about people who say socialism or whatever, you want to go live on a commune or whatever, that's based on everyone idealistically having to fulfill their own and also everyone else's needs. Everyone would have to be fair or whatever. No one would be able to be greedy for it to actually properly work. And it's if you look at if you go back in time, when we're cavemen, everybody's just trying to survive. There's communities, but everybody's basically doing their own thing in the way that it helps them survive. And then as time continues to progress, it's just in pursuit of a sound stable survival. So when we get here to modern society, it's just that, but hyper expanded. It's like some sort of I thought of this a while ago. It's like we're in a simulation of a system of natural selection, but economically, it's only some people who are able to really excel can, and otherwise you just don't. And
you die.
The way that it's formed is people have problems mainly with capitalism because they think everybody should be able to just live their lives fairly, and nobody's actually ever been able to really do that. There's always restrictions, and I'm just now realizing that the stress that capitalism creates is it's like a conduit for creativity. Just initially in life, stress breeds adaptation, so stress breeds innovation. My mom was talking about this a while ago. She was like in LA it's really stressful, so people are just they have to keep fighting to top their competitors to be able to make the most money. And that's why I guess that's why it is that's why places have places with a lot of people trying to innovate and bring new stuff to the table, California have higher housing prices, is just because it's just a more stressful place.
People want to be here.
Yeah, people want to be here because people are here doing stuff, and so when
This is the top society.
Yeah,
This is
and
the
then
top of
more
society.
People come here and then do more stuff to try to get more money to fit in the box. But since there's so many more people, it creates just a higher bar. Raising the bar.
That was crazy. He
Articulated it so beautiful.
That was
so
beautiful,
he's
man.
so
Bro,
beautiful.
he I kept trying to repeat it.
No, it seemed like your thoughts was festering over in that chair.
No, they were festering.
I
The entire episode, he's been festering. That's crazy.
He brought together kind of the
man, I'm so
survivalist
proud.
mindset of kind of cavemen.
Yeah.
And now it's economical. It's not life or death. It's money or broke.
Yeah.
And that is death nowadays.
That is death nowadays.
It's just money or broke.
This-
And it's the crazy thing about it is because in our society, with our phones, we are exposed to so much varying forms of wealth. It's in our face now. If you thought it was bad in the 60s and 70s, when you could see rich people walking down the street, it's now, bro, you can literally open up your phone and look at the lifestyle.
Tour a nigga house.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Immediately
Tour
you're just
somebody's
damn,
house.
I'm broke.
And it's damn, they're living a much better life than I am. I want a better, which is why
Figment.
it's so difficult for me when I battle these ideas in my head, because it's I don't feel like capitalism is the best that we can do, but I'm not gonna sit here and say socialism or communism is the best thing either, because it's we've never seen those systems in actuality done, and a lot of things with human nature, people do want to be better than others, it's shown throughout history, there have been conquerors, there have been people who are weak, that's how it's always been. And it's sometimes when we have these conversations, it's kind of you want to reconstruct human nature with something that you can't do. It formed over millions of years, and it's it's difficult because like for me like I want everybody to at least like be able to fulfill what their life purpose is. Like that's ideally what I want. And I feel like sometimes when I see a lot of people in this capitalist system, they don't get the opportunity to even do something that they like doing. I mean, like this human life is so unique. Like you only get one, as far as we know. Yeah. And it's like I would love for idealistically, I would love for people to do something that they enjoy doing. But it's like, are you enjoying it if you're not, if you're broke?
But you know, see, like that's my thing. Like you can do something you can enjoy. You can do something you want to do. You just have to either one or two things. You can be the best at it, and I guarantee you're gonna be rich. I guarantee you. I agree.
That's what I be saying, bro. Like,
However, if you choose to do the thing that you're passionate about, if you choose to coach high school basketball because that is what you want to do, and you're not at a Sierra Canyon where they clearly paying your salary, and you want to do that shit at Pinole Valley High School or Hercules Middle School, like, bro, so be it. This is what you chose. But please, like, I hope that the happiness that you get from
is worth it.
I hope that the happiness you get from being able to see all the kids that you develop is able to offset the perceived economic situation. And granted, like, man, if you watching, golly, I feel horrible for forgetting his name right now. But there's a way to be a millionaire making $30,000 a year. It's just gonna take you 60 years. It's gonna take you 50 years. Like, you're not gonna get that Lambo tomorrow.
Yeah, you're gonna get it when you're 60.
No, you might not get it.
I mean, like,
but you're gonna be able to retire comfortably.
And I feel like that's like the question. Like, is that wealth worth 60 years of your life?
I have to.
No, but is it worth doing something that you don't want to do for 10?
And also, it's just like, I feel like it's like the way we view things, like especially with social media and stuff, like experience is just like it's just increased like to a strange level that like people have never gone through before. Like, you look at your phone, you see something, you look at the TV, you look at like anything. Most people, all they had at first was just their life, like the people they met, like maybe some books or something. But now there's so many stories that you can just like consume. There's so many things that you can like want at any given time. So this like extremely increased desire, like compacted with like even more stress, or like a different type of stress, like more psychological. It's like, it's a really strange thing because of like the way like people tend to compare each other, and like the way people view poverty, especially in this country. Like I feel like the thing about the system, like how it's flawed or whatever, like I feel like it'll continue to be flawed forever for the most part, because most of the ideas about it are like idealistic, but it'll take like a lot of time to improve upon. Like we're at the point we're at now. Like, some people could say like we're at a like good point. Some people could say we're at the best we're at, but other people could say that we still need work. And like I feel like it could take like 10,000 years still, like for us to get to the point where people can like fulfill their purpose in life, or like live a life that's like happy without having to like stress or like break their back over just survival.
I think life is trade-offs, bro.
See, that's where I disagree. I don't think that life is transactional. I believe
trade-offs. Life is about choices and trade-offs.
I think
Thomas Sowell.
I think that both capitalism and communism both are corrupted, because how are you going to put how are you going to deitize a government that's supposed to be somebody who's serving you?
What you mean by deitize the government?
In a sense.
Oh, you talking about in like the communist system?
No, I'm talking in both systems.
Oh, okay. I mean,
because like look at
just the government that we fall under. We are ruled by X, Y.
Pretty precisely. But this is my thing: the government itself is not supposed to rule you. It's not at all. What it's supposed to do is keep you accountable for your own actions.
Word.
And that's where policing comes into play. That's where welfare comes into play. And that's where Social Security comes into play. Because if you're accountable for your own actions, you'll have money put away in Social Security, right? if you are accountable for your own actions, you don't have to go to jail because you are accounting for your own, mistakes. And on top of that, I feel that one thing that we don't look at in society, and it's the most overlooked aspect of society, is because we don't look internally anymore. Everything is externally. How do we look? How do we dress? What are we buying? You know what I'm saying? It's never which is what we've been doing. What is it that I'm reading? What is it that I'm watching every day that is actually shaping my thoughts? And then what happens inside of my mind, the thoughts that I have are the actions that I take, right? And so the actions that I take, the ideas that I have are all orbiting around the habits that I have every day, right? And so if I'm on my phone every day when I wake up, right, I'm going to be scrolling and I'm going to be like, oh, this shit is horrible. Life is horrible. Everything is bad in the world, right? Everything's transactional. Nobody loves black people. You know what I'm saying? Everything's racist, right? Or, everything's bigotry. There's so much bigotry in the world. But if I actually put my phone down and take a walk in Berkeley, you're gonna feel love, no matter what race is coming from, right? It's not transactional in that sense, right? Because when you take a walk, what are you trading, right? You're not trading anything. You're like, but in that sense, the one thing that we are is sufficient. Because the only thing that we're risking, in a sense, is our ability to experience.
Yeah.
And when I say, because this next era that we're about to get into, we're gonna push a lot of self-sufficient thoughts. I believe, and just genuine thoughts, that come from within. Not necessarily that come from society or come from somebody else, but what are your organic thoughts? Because
but it's like what are your organic thoughts though?
Well, your organic
like you
yeah, I hear it. Man, fell right off the wall. Okay. We're good.
Tapping into that a little bit earlier, bro.
Like literally as a human being, like you are what you consume.
Ooh.
But
if you consume of the earth, what do you consume?
No.
How do you consume?
I understand that, but if you're consuming of the earth, what are you consuming?
Like, what are you consuming of the earth, though? Like, what does that constitute as?
Going into nature, you're having organic downloads from God. You know what I'm saying? Like when I
organic download. I just thought of Larry June. Organic download.
Suck it to me. But no, for real, like. There's so many things that distract us in society from actually thinking about what really matters to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel like
why
in a world full of countless distractions,
and that's where discipline comes in. You know what I'm saying? Because if we were disciplined enough to really say that's bad, this is good.
How do we know what's good and bad?
But it's like
because of what we deem to be good and bad.
That's the thing. It's always based off something. You get your morals from your parents or whatever you're able to get it from. If you're born in the woods and you just grow up without anything at all and it's just you'll probably have some basic instinct, but you'll be nothing like any type of human that lives now, except for people who were born in those like specific circumstances.
Let me ask you this question though: Why is it that the humans that are around now are better than any human that has been before?
Well, it depends on how you define better.
How can you say better?
Yeah.
What does better mean?
That's
even also based on what you consume.
Because I could argue that like humans of the past, like 400 years ago, were like they might have been more versed in different subjects than we are today.
They probably had better memories than us and shit.
Better
attention spans.
Exactly. Like even like I was watching one video, dude was talking about like in the past, like society was like generally like more like educated, just about like different things. Yeah, just like about like different like historical pieces and just like just all this shit like that. It's like nowadays like a lot of people be on some NPC shit, bro. Like
yeah.
What I'm saying is this.
Everything that they consume is off of Instagram, off their curated
all
feed,
based on
off their
the same
feed,
things.
off of the same things.
Pray for my little sister.
Me too, on God. But
Like,
listen,
bro,
but
these kids who growing up in this damn post-COVID age, bro. You freaking grew up.
Coco Melon.
Skibbity toilet, bro. You know?
TikTok is destroying America. China, you win.
But that's my thing though. Like, when we look at all of these things, right? We say that it's inorganic, right? But they're all man-made. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're all man-made. And when I say man-made, I'm not even saying like you made it or you made it. They're things that were constructed to, in a sense, make the human experience like completely altered, right? Like, think about what they did when they put an iPhone in your hand. You're no longer relying on a phone call.
I think Steve Jobs had the vision of efficiency. However,
Efficiency to what degree, though?
Trade-offs.
At what cost? Yeah.
man, life is trade-offs.
Like,
It's like
Jeez. No, I'm thinking about
gain
that. You're right.
efficiency, you lose a bit of
Like,
your humanity. Like,
it's
there's this-
all a trade-off. Even integration is a trade-off. Like you get the opportunity to be a part of the wider racial American society, but when you are part of that, you lose something else. You know, it's like, but Michael, I did want to ask you though, like, what do you feel like possessed you to even come out with the thought that this is the best, like we are the best humans?
No. I'm not saying that we're the best humans.
No, but like,
I'm not
You
saying.
asked,
I'm not.
like why are we better now?
yeah, like.
No, I'm saying, what is it that qualifies us to be that makes us think that we're better now? That's what I was asking.
But then we have to base it on what is better. Like,
Yeah.
better based on what? Because
Well,
better
That's always
is-
arbitrary.
This is what I'll say. When I think of happiness comes from the amount of success of the things that you control, right? And so which is what I'm going to be which is what I'm going to be one day when I become a farmer, which is what you want to be as well. You know, when I become a farmer, my problems are not of the world anymore.
Are you trying to go off the grid?
I mean, I kind of want everybody to get off the grid, honestly, because if you really think about it, what is society doing for you that you can't do for yourself? But anyway, when you think, no, it's not. It's not. When you really think about it, there's nothing that you can't do for yourself.
Well, I mean, of course that, but I mean, like, I feel like a part of being human, or at least
Is relying on other people.
no, not relying. Well, I mean, partly possibly relying on other people, but it's this aspect of human connection.
Mm-hmm.
This aspect
Yeah.
of like
Why
you can only teach yourself so much.
But this is my thing. Why does society like why is it that we think that society has strings attached to it? Like, why is it that it doesn't though? Like, you take and you give what you want. It's the same thing that you were just saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, you control what you feed.
This is true. But people lack that self-control, like you were talking about.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
But it's like, I feel like our society like pushes the need to have so much discipline. Like,
That's society though. Is
but-
Earth
but-
pushing you to do that?
But it's like you're like, why must we exercise so much discipline to live like?
Because
a
that's
life
what was
that we're
required.
satisfied with?
Yeah, but
That's
like,
what was
look at you
required.
right
Look at the
now.
disciples.
There's a microphone in front of you. There's a camera right there. There's like 2 computers right
Mhm.
there. How are you gonna say like people have to be disciplined if you're just as reliant on this like system that's everyone else?
So when it comes to technology, this is that's a very important part too. But when I talk about self-sufficiency, I'm talking about it in terms of this, right? Let's say everything turned off right now today, right? What would you know how to do?
I was about to say cook, but damn.
You see what I'm saying? So like this is what James was talking. James Waller, who we just had on. I think this is actually going to be 2 episodes before. 2 episodes ago. What we will see is that we don't know how to do anything, but the old heads do, right? And so they know what what life was like before the phone, right? They know what life was like before we were even addressed with the option of feeding all these different things, right? They were only told what they heard on the radio or on TV, right? And so for us to have such instant access to this information, not only does it distort our biases, right? Because now, as you were saying at the beginning of the episode, we get into these niches of intellectualism.
They had biases too, though.
That's very true, but it was a different source, though. You know what I'm saying? It was sourced in not immediate propaganda.
I mean, the news has always been propaganda.
But it wasn't immediate, though. When I say immediate, I mean quite literally, like, you turn on your phone, right? They're going to give you 30 minutes of whatever that bias is. If you want to know more about the bias that you hear on the news, you have to go and look at that article, right? They're not going to give you the evidence.
This just age of instant access to whatever form of either propaganda or information that we want to connect ourselves to.
That's exactly what I'm saying. When we look at the information that we intake, right? Mm-hmm. Do you consider it to be healthy?
It depends.
We know too much.
Mentally, no.
We know way too much. We shouldn't know what it. We shouldn't know. Or cease it, huh?
So is this what God meant by the apple? Tree of knowledge, man. Knowledge is corrupting us, man.
And
they do say more intelligent people are more likely to be depressed and things like that.
Depressed and no, not even suicidal. And
I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, being somebody who like grapples with like a lot of different like thoughts and ideas, like it can be like pretty sad sometimes. Like,
yeah.
Like, you know, like when you for me, like, knowing somebody who knows like how bad this capitalist system is, but somebody who still wants like freedom and prosperity, it's like how do you grapple with like those ideas? Like it's like damn, sometimes I'd be confused on like which way do I want to go? And it's like what do I want to do? It's like there's and we're exposed to so many different
enigmas. That's what society is. It's full of enigmas.
Yeah, and like we're exposed to so many different like biases and different forms of thought. Like you scroll on Instagram, I'll get 50 different opinions if I scroll down far enough. It's like, who's to say that any of them are right?
Yeah, and it's like what do you like? What I feel like right is, or what's correct or like true, is really only based on the utility that information serves to a person. And it's like, how far does the progression of technology go, like, for humanity? Like, maybe we've just as a species lived for too long. Maybe this is the only way that we could keep going. Like, people wouldn't just be happy with the way they were like 100 years ago. They were like, oh, we can keep improving this and this and that, and then one day we just end up here. Like, I feel like there's so many like different, like, alternating, conflicting perspectives that are like constantly being flooded into our minds. It's like we have to somehow make sense of everything when nothing really makes sense, and it's weird.
You know, I heard something the other day. It said that if you are a sane American, you're insane.
I just feel like the trials that the tribulations that we all thinking about right now is like, these are just kind of the trade-offs to being a global citizen. Like,
but it's not global though. I can't say global.
Like, global citizen. When I say global citizen, I mean like being able to take into account multiple perspectives that are not your own, that are not of anybody around you, that are of the world.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question. Was globalization the best or the worst thing that happened to the world?
Wait,
that all depends on a perspective.
I have to ask you, what was globalization? Because what we consider to be globalization was white globalization. It was European globalization.
I mean globalization. I mean like just kind of like the connection and trading of goods across various different countries. Granted, like white people probably, the Dutch specifically, made the first world traveling ships or whatever. They might have connected us all.
cap though.
No. I mean, not literally. I mean, like, okay, we get it. Black people did it first.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Myles, I mean,
He said exactly.
But you get it. Black people did it first. But what I mean, though, in terms of, like, in this modern world, like, like with the connection and trading of goods in various different countries, like was this amalgamation of what we now are, like, was it better or worse? Like, were we worse off separated, or were we better off?
I feel like there's no way to determine that.
Yeah, because we don't know
Because
enough history.
from any given point, like if we go back, people are just gonna feel like, oh, we can get better. If we're now, we're like, oh, we can get better this way, or we can get better by going back. So it's like it's all based on what we think of as better. Like if we want to make enough food for everyone and make sure that everyone across the entire world can get it and like still be sustainable, we still have like steps to take forward. But if we just want to like be complacent in our problems and be able to just like deal with it and live on our own, I guess, like self-sufficient, then
So what do you think of the problem that we tackled in the last century was? Like, because like I see where you're going.
like quite a few.
Like-
I mean, like the problems are always happening. Like it's societal, like ideological, like
I think
it's like all the things like race problems, like wars, just like basically just like every problem you could think of contributed to the development of like the mind and like I guess technology of like every single person that lives like now. So it's really just like where does better come from? Who's saying it? What is their background? And how do we like rationalize it? Because like really we could do anything, any type of improvement or like removal, and still be better just based on whoever's like deciding what's better.
Absolutely.
Wow. I think that's an excellent point, because if I really think about what I deem, because like it truly does.
It boils down to each individual.
Exactly.
And whoever has the most power.
And see, we have to ask ourselves, but that right there, it's like this. There's always going to be a fight for power. So what is it that we're fighting for real? Like, I feel like half the time, like when
We about to get into semantics.
15 seconds.
We about to get into
no, well,
semantics.
it's not even that.
Feeling
Well, no, it's not even semantics. It's this. When we look at what we deem to be a better, right? It's because of a certain level of power or a certain level of control that we feel we don't have over whatever problem we're being faced with, right? And when I look at that, I have to ask myself, who's creating that problem for me?
Word.
You know what I'm saying? Is this a problem that I can live with, or is this a problem that like society wants me to solve? You know, or this is a problem that society wants me to address, right? Because if society wants me to do it, there's obviously something that I'm not doing for myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it for the objective of trying to have a better life for myself. I'm trying to invoke something better towards the world, right? Because if it was up to me, right, and I didn't have the spirit of wanting collective betterness, I would be off on a farm somewhere doing sets and just contemplating life, and just recording my thoughts to myself, right? But instead, I believe that people truly, I'm not going to say, let me stop there. I believe that people truly can't even begin to decipher what distractions are really at, like, in their minds, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can't even begin to understand what's a fallacy, because a lot of the ideas in our minds are based off of fallacies.
Damn.
Right?
Yeah, and sometimes it's like you can't even get to the point where you like get the information that allows you to correct the fallacy. It's just
Exactly.
like, oh, everybody believes this, so I guess it's just like
A thing.
functionally a fact. Like it's like, yeah,
That shit is dangerous.
like mass hysteria.
That shit is dangerous.
And that's where anarchy comes in. Because if you really think about it, what the government wants you to think is that anarchy is a horrible thing, right? And at first, we were on Haight Street, and we went to this bookstore, and it was like full of our anarchy books. I'm just like, why are they writing so much about anarchy? I never really understood the whole premise of it. But as I've been, contemplating over the last, few weeks, I don't completely agree with anarchy, but I can understand the premise of where it's coming from. It's about control of oneself.
A desire for control of oneself?
Not even that, but it's the actual practice of it.
Really?
Because if you're in an anarchic state, right, there's nobody has control, right? So that means that you are either a victim, right? But you're a victim to your own mind, right? Because I'm not even going to say that. I can't even say that because some people have physical differences. So, but in the terms of mentality, though, you're a victim of your own mind if you allow somebody else to tell you what to do in that situation, right? Because in that situation, everybody is equal. Everybody has the exact same right to eat, drink, sleep, and
From there, that's when we dial back to natural selection, and just like whoever's got it, like they've got the strength, they've got the know-how,
yeah,
and then everybody else just like dies or whatever.
And
that's
Such
where,
is life, though.
That-
I feel like I've accepted. I feel like I've accepted that brutality of the world.
I have as well.
Like as harsh as it sounds.
Yeah, and it's weird though because like that's where like modern society protects us. Like that's where the control is actually like useful to stop us from just like killing each other for like whatever. Because there's a lot of people who do need to just be like contained or like stopped from committing like horrible atrocities.
You're right.
When we think of like everybody should be able to do like what their purpose is in life, everybody should be able to be happy, everybody should be able to do what they want. There's a lot of people who just are like almost like from birth or like just through experience in
They
their
just
life
don't want to see
like,
people happy.
stopped from doing that. Like just development is like irreversibly altered, like mentally or like whatever. Like some people are just absolutely insane and are just like crazed murderers or whatever. Some people just don't know who they are and are only able to serve other people. So it's like the way that it all works isn't like similar to us all being equal. It's like we're all different in our own ways, and it's like a weird hierarchy that doesn't make sense.
But who am I to say that you don't have the capacity to do so? Who are you to say I don't have the capacity to do so? You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? You like, I feel like some people have decided. Like I have a friend. He said to me, he's like, "Yeah, bro. Like I'm not really a leader, but I feel like I can get shit done. But like, and it's okay that I'm not a leader. I just feel like I'm here to like help whatever cause I attach myself to."
And in that sense, right? That's where families come into play.
How so?
Because when you look at a family, right, the father is quote unquote supposed to be the leader, right? But in actuality, it's the mother. We're not going to talk about that, because people don't want to talk about that too often, because what they want you to think is that the person who's providing, protecting, and guiding the family is the person who is actually leading the family. But in actuality, it's the person who's walking down the path and making sure everybody's okay along there, right? Because that's the person who has the most responsibility, and the person who has the most responsibility is inevitably the leader, right? Because they are the person who is held as the servant, as the public servant. That's what a president is supposed to be. That's what a mayor is supposed to be, a governor, and any person who is a politician. You're supposed to be a servant, right? It's all good. We're going to take a quick hiatus. In closing remarks, in terms of self-sufficiency, I want to actually ask all three of you guys, because I have really been battling with the... There's some... You hear that echo?
Yeah, it's right here.
Or is it? Oh.
I feel so happy I die.
Okay, put it around the chair real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna fix that.
Can't feel myself.
So, I have to ask you guys, do you believe that self-sufficiency it's important.
I feel like it's important, but it's not paramount. You know, like it's not the because like everybody needs a community. Like the thing you said about family, like you're not really going anywhere unless you have a family. You're not really going anywhere unless you have community, like people who are supporting you. So like,
That's what I was going.
Most of like success as a human relies on like connection.
Yeah.
So like off the bat, like maybe you can't do everything if all the like power or everything turns off, but maybe you've got a friend or like a cousin or a brother or like somebody who can.
Yeah.
And like it's based off that. Like nobody can do everything alone.
Fact. What about you, brother?
I think.
That's a fact.
I mean, maybe it might be. I think more paramount in the future. Like if an EMF or a microwave bomb go off.
Which honestly, I hope does. I do. I hope.
I've been waiting for this moment. Huh?
I have.
But I'd say creating a marketable skill set or creating something that will be able to provide value to others,
Mm-hmm.
and then relying on other people, I think is more important, at least in this day and age.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that being able to plant your own vegetables.
Yeah.
And being able to, raise your own child is not important, but I think, at least for me, I think being able to provide a value add to somebody else to create a better collective or to be able to create something of value for others, I think is more important right now.
Wow, that's deep. That's very deep. What about you, brother?
Man, I would just say that, like, I don't know, self-sufficiency is like a difficult concept just because, like, me personally, I would say that, like, you need people in this world. Like I can't do everything, I have certain things that I'm good at. I have certain things that I'm bad at. Like I can't survive in this world without anybody else. Like that would make me go insane.
That's a fact.
Like if you just can't get the validation of others in your life, like, well, we all seek validation in some way.
Yeah.
Some people try to act like they don't, but like that's just a lie, bro.
That's fact.
Yeah.
That's fact.
Like we all want validation in some way for anything that we do, to be recognized, to know that your work in something is going to be uplifted by your group or your tribe or wherever you are. And I think that self-sufficiency for me is just being able to, I don't know, I would say, like, in this society that we're in is, being able to, like, do the things that I enjoy doing, but being comfortable at the same time, and just feel like I'm living a life that I living out the vision that I see as worthwhile. I don't even want to say like goal, because I feel like attaching like goals to value, to like materialistic values, is like once you reach that materialistic value, like you're gonna want something else.
Right.
Like you're always gonna want something else. Like if you say you want to be like a millionaire,
yeah.
Like once you reach that $1 million, like you're gonna want something else.
That's a fact.
So like that being a millionaire or just having a lot of money could be a part of that vision of success, but it's more so just like I want to do the things that are going to lead me down just that path of fulfillment, and I think that would be as much wisdom as possible, as much knowledge, being able to talk about the things that I enjoy talking about while being paid for it at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like whatever that may be, I feel like that would be self-sufficiency. But I don't know if any one man can be self-sufficient on their own and be fulfilled. I don't know. Everybody's different. Like I know for myself, I couldn't see myself just being fulfilled just by being by myself, because I need people. I need to be around others. Like I can't just learn. Like, what's the point of me learning all this stuff if I can't talk about it? Like if I can't exchange the ideas with others and get a different perspective. So it's like I don't know. I guess that's how I'd answer that question.
I would agree with all of you, but I believe that the definition that you guys were running off of was is self-reliance instead of self-sufficiency because, well, I'll get into my definition of self-sufficiency on a different episode.
How are you finna say that? and then, like, not have it defined.
Well, because I will say it on the next episode. Thank you guys for watching the Black Lotus podcast. Man, today was just such a refreshing and just joyful blessing. You know, just being back on the mic, it just feels... I'm just ecstatic, man. I'm grateful that we're still here, man. And we're not going nowhere. It's invasion time, 2024. And, you know, I want to thank both Chandler and Myles for coming on today. You know, good brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to lie, brother. I just fasted for 36 hours. I feel extremely weak. But hungry. Man, yeah, let me get... It's not the first time y'all met, but it's the first time y'all seen each other in a very long time. But as we always love to say at the end of our podcast, and this is not just a mantra, this is not just, you know, a slogan. This is something that I truly, over these last 2 years, have really come to understand on a different level. When people show love to you, not only does it keep you going, but when you don't receive love, it's honestly sometimes the thing that stops you. It keeps you hesitant because you're always second guessing yourself, right? Because if you don't have as much solid, you know, self-love, you always ask for validation of others, right? And so over these last 2 years, I've been really trying. Oh, wow. I don't want to sound so cliche, but God, I'm about to say it.
Here it comes.
I learned how to love myself. God dang it.
And that's a beautiful thing, man.
But for real, being comfortable, you know, within your own skin is different from also getting validation from others, because I mean, you put it the best. When you don't know if people out there listening, you're like, what the fuck am I doing this for? You know? And I guess what I've come to assume is that I gotta do it not just for me, but because this is something that I view my family to want, you know, to want to listen to eventually. This is something that I feel I can leave for my family, and not only just for my family, but for all those who have similar stories to mine. And so when I genuinely say this, I genuinely mean this, you know, and we will show the love the same way that you show it to us. But as long as you show love, we'll stay consistent. Oh, dang it, come on, brother, you gotta say it at the same time. All right. As long as you show love, we'll stay consistent. Peace, y'all. One love.